The first time I laid eyes on the Everleigh estate, I knew it held secrets. The mansion loomed over the land like a forgotten relic, its once pristine walls now draped in ivy and shadows. The iron gates groaned as they opened for me, revealing sprawling gardens left to grow wild, roses twisting in tangled, thorny knots. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth and decay, as though time itself had begun to rot within these grounds. I was the new gardener, a man of simple means, hired to tend to this vast, untamed wilderness. The moment I stepped inside, the grand hallway welcomed me with an eerie stillness. Dust clung to the ornate chandeliers, and the heavy velvet curtains blocked out the sun, leaving only the dim glow of flickering candlelight. The silence was oppressive, wrapping around me like a shroud. And then I saw her. A massive, regal portrait hung above the marble fireplace. The young woman in the painting was breathtaking. High cheekbones, a delicate jawline, lips as red as roses in full bloom. But it was her eyes that entranced me the most, deep, hypnotic, as though she was staring right through the years that separated us. It felt like a spell had been cast upon me, an instant, unexplainable love. I would later learn her name, Lillian Everleigh, the only daughter of the family. 10 years ago, she had vanished without a trace. No ransom notes, no signs of struggle, simply gone. Search parties scoured the forests and rivers, but nothing was ever found. Her mother withered away in grief. Her father drowned himself in his business. And the staff carried on, never daring to speak her name too loudly. Yet, in that portrait, she remained, a vision of beauty, untouched by time. Days turned into weeks, and I could not shake the feeling that something within this house watched me. The old estate was filled with peculiar sounds. Distant creaks, rustling in the walls, the occasional scurrying in the dark corners. The staff avoided the basement, their faces pale at the mere mention of it. I should have heeded their silent warnings. Instead, I followed the call of my own curiosity. One night, when the household had long gone to sleep, I found the door. It was hidden beneath a tattered rug in the kitchen, an old wooden hatch that led downward into an abyss. The moment I lifted it, a foul stench slithered up, thick with decay and something worse. With only a dim lantern to guide me, I descended the stone steps into the darkness below. What I found there shattered every illusion I had built in my mind. Lillian was there, but not the Lillian I had fallen in love with. She was crouched in the corner, her hair a tangled nest of filth and bone fragments, her skin a patchwork of sores and hardened scars. Her nails had grown into jagged claws, her once delicate hands now stained with blackened blood. Her eyes, though, those same eyes from the portrait, were hollow, devoid of humanity. Around her, piles of gnawed bones lay in grotesque disorder, the remains of those who had wandered too close, who had heard the whispers and could not resist the call. I stumbled back, my lantern casting its flickering glow upon the horror before me. The truth crashed upon me like a tidal wave. Lillian had never disappeared. She had been imprisoned, locked away by her own family, hidden beneath their feet like a shameful secret. But why? What had happened to her? The answer lay in the scattered remnants of flesh and gristle, in the blood-smeared walls where claw marks dug deep into the stone. She had changed. Whether through disease, a curse, or some unholy hunger, she had transformed from a beautiful debutante into a ravenous creature that fed on human flesh. The Everleighs had tried to cover up their monstrous secret, concealing their daughter from the world while she feasted in the darkness, a grotesque relic of their legacy. And now, she had seen me. A gurgling snarl ripped through the silence, and she moved with terrifying speed. I barely managed to escape, slamming the hatch shut behind me as her claws scraped against the wood. The house was asleep. No one had heard my desperate scramble. I stood there, panting, my mind reeling with the horrors below. The next morning, I resigned without a word. I left the Everleigh estate behind, but the image of her portrait and her true self, never left me. Even now, I wonder if she still waits in the basement, hunched over the remains of her latest meal. If her family still pretends she is a ghost of the past, rather than a nightmare that breathes beneath their feet. Perhaps one day someone else will hear the whispers, and perhaps they won't be as lucky as I was.